So I guess I should start by saying I never thought I'd be the girl posting one of these stories, but here we are. Life comes at you fast, am I right? I was engaged to Blake for almost 2 years. We met at a John Mayer concert, red flag number, one that I completely missed, and I thought he was my forever person. He had this whole cool music guy vibe going, always talking about bands I'd never heard of and festivals he wanted to go to. And I ate that up like it was the last slice of Cheesecake Factory. Blake worked at this indie record store downtown that basically paid him an exposure and free vinyl, while I had a real grown-up job at a marketing firm. I didn't mind being the one with the steady income because I loved how passionate he was about music. I thought it was cute how he'd spend hours making playlists and talking about how Coachella was his dream festival. He'd been trying to go for years, but never had the money. Poor baby, right? We had separate accounts, but also a joint savings account where we were putting money for our wedding. I had contributed way more than him, like 80-20 split if I'm being honest, but I told myself that was fine because he'd contribute in other ways to our life together. Laugh out loud, past me was such a clown. So about 3 months ago, I noticed money missing from our savings. Not all of it, but a solid $4,000 gone. When I asked Blake about it, he got all weird and defensive, saying he was planning a surprise for us, and I should trust him. And like the total dummy I was, I did trust him. Fast forward to last week when I'm scrolling through Instagram and see a post from his ex, Amber. Now, I never worried about her because Blake always said they were just friendly exes who occasionally texted about music recommendations. The post was a selfie of her with the caption, "Can't wait for Coachella weekend with my favorite person. Thanks for the VIP tickets, babe." With a winky face emoji. Something felt off, so I did what any rational, almost wife would do and went full FBI mode. I checked our credit card statements, found hotel reservations in Palm Springs for Coachella weekend, and 2 VIP passes purchased with our joint account money. And guess what? I wasn't the plus one. The second ticket was registered in Amber's name. When I confronted him, he tried to spin this whole story about how Amber had connections to some band manager, and this was actually a networking opportunity for his music career. That the hotel room had 2 beds and they were just going as friends. That he was going to tell me but wanted to wait until after he had some concrete leads to show me it was a good investment. I laughed in his face and said, "So you stole my savings to take your ex to Coachella and didn't think I'd find out." He got all defensive saying it wasn't stealing because we were engaged and the money was ours. I reminded him that our money was 80% my contributions, and he had specifically taken it without discussing it with me for a non-emergency, non-essential purpose. That night, I stayed at my best friend Kayla's apartment and cried into a pint of Ben & Jerry's while she poured me glasses of $2 Chuck from Trader Joe's. The next morning, with a clearer head and Kayla's encouragement, I made some calls. I froze our joint account so he couldn't take any more money. I called my bank and reported the unauthorized withdrawal from the account. I called a lawyer. When I returned to our apartment, I put his Xbox and vinyl collection in garbage bags and told him he had 48 hours to get his stuff and get out. I took back the engagement ring, which, surprise, surprise, I had also paid for because he was between jobs when he proposed. He kept saying we could work it out, that I was overreacting, that it was just a music festival that cost $4,000 of my money to attend with his ex. I filed a police report for theft. Turns out taking money from a joint account can still be considered theft if it's used without consent for purposes that don't benefit both parties. I also filed a civil suit for the full amount. I kept all the text messages where he admitted taking the money without telling me and using it for himself and Amber, the cherry on top. When I was moving his stuff out of the closet, I found texts on his old phone that showed he and Amber had never actually stopped seeing each other. They had been hooking up whenever I was out of town for work, so he was not only a thief, but a cheater too. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, he's been blowing up my phone. Turns out when your fiancé pays for most things and you suddenly lose access to her money, life gets tough real quick. He couldn't make rent on our apartment, which was in my name anyway. His credit cards were maxed out, and Amber apparently bailed on him when she realized he was broke and in legal trouble. So now I'm single, living in a cute new apartment downtown, and feeling strangely free. I've started a YouTube channel reviewing local music shows since I've always loved music, even if my taste isn't as sophisticated as Blake's. It's small but growing, and honestly, I'm thinking of using some of my savings, once I get it back, through the lawsuit, to buy myself a ticket to Coachella next year. Best revenge is living well, right? Updated. So it's been about a month since my last post, and wow, has a lot happened. First off, thank you to everyone for the supportive comments and messages. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. Let me catch you all up on the Blake situation. The lawsuit is moving forward and it's not looking good for him. My lawyer is a total boss lady who took my case because she went through something similar with her college boyfriend. She said that what Blake did falls under financial infidelity and theft, and with the evidence I have, the texts, bank statements, etc., we have a solid case. Blake tried to defend himself by saying that as my fiancé, he had the right to use our money for whatever he wanted. The judge was not impressed, especially when my lawyer pointed out that I contributed over 80% to that account specifically for our wedding and future together, not for him to take his side chick to Coachella. His face when the judge called Amber his paramour was priceless. I wish I could have taken a picture. Speaking of Amber, she reached out to me on Instagram, if you can believe it. She claimed she had no idea Blake and I were still together, that he told her we had broken up months ago and just hadn't told people yet. I don't know if I believe her, but she did send me screenshots of their conversations that are now evidence in my case, so at least she's useful for something. The court froze Blake's assets until the case is resolved, which isn't much since he barely had any money to begin with. His parents had to pay for his lawyer, and from what I heard through mutual friends, they're furious with him. Apparently, they always thought he was punching above his weight with me, their words, not mine. And now they're worried about how this will affect their family's reputation in our small town. Oh, and remember that record store job? Yeah, he got fired. Turns out his boss saw my post. Again, didn't realize how far this would spread, and didn't want a thief working around valuable vinyl collections. So now Blake is not only broke and about to be legally required to pay me back, but he's also unemployed. But enough about Blake's downward spiral. Let's talk about what's been happening with me because things have taken a wild turn in the best possible way. Remember how I mentioned starting a YouTube channel reviewing local music? Well, one of my videos caught the attention of a small music blog called Soundwave. They were looking for contributors, and after seeing my content, they offered me a position. It doesn't pay much yet, but it's a foot in the door of the music industry, which is something I've always been interested in, but didn't pursue because I was too busy supporting Blake's career. The crazy part? My first assignment for them was to cover a local festival here in Austin. It was nowhere near the size of Coachella, more like a mini SXSW, but it was such an amazing experience. I got a press pass, backstage access, and interviews with some up-and-coming bands. I was literally getting paid to do what Blake always dreamed of doing. I posted about it on Instagram, not to be petty, okay, maybe a little petty, and within minutes, I got a DM from Blake asking if I could get him on the guest list. The audacity of this man knows no bounds. I left him on red and enjoyed my weekend, feeling like a total rock star. One of the most surreal moments was interviewing this indie band that Blake was obsessed with. He had all their vinyl, posters on our walls, the whole fanboy thing. And there I was, chatting with them like it was no big deal, while they were super interested in my story for the blog. They even followed me on Instagram afterward. If Blake saw that, I'm sure his head exploded. As for the Coachella tickets that started this whole mess, well, karma works in mysterious ways. Amber ended up going with some other guy, and according to her public Instagram stories, it rained the entire weekend, turning the festival grounds into a muddy disaster. She posted a tearful video about her $500 boots being ruined and how they left early because their tent flooded. Meanwhile, I was having the time of my life at a dry, sunny local festival, with all access passes I didn't have to steal from anyone to get. But the most unexpected development came last week. The editor at Soundwave was so impressed with my festival coverage that they've asked me to be their correspondent for several major events this summer, including, wait for it, Coachella next year. They'll be covering all expenses, plus paying me to write about it. When I told Kayla, she literally spit out her White Claw, laughing at the irony. In other news, I've moved into a new apartment that I absolutely love. It's one of those converted warehouse spaces downtown with exposed brick and massive windows. I've been documenting my decoration process on TikTok, and people seem to really enjoy watching me build my new life. There's something so therapeutic about buying furniture that's just for me, arranging my space exactly how I want it, without considering anyone else's opinion or taste. I ran into Blake's roommate at Target while I was buying throw pillows. I may have gone a bit overboard in the home decor section. He told me Blake had to move back in with his parents in the suburbs because he couldn't afford rent anywhere in the city. Apparently, he's been applying to every job in town, but his reputation has taken such a hit that no one wants to hire him. He ended up taking a job at Taco Bell, which feels like poetic justice since he always made fun of fast food workers and said they lacked ambition. Who's lacking ambition now, Blake? The lawsuit is still ongoing, but my lawyer is confident we'll get a judgment in my favor soon. Blake's lawyer has even reached out about a settlement, which suggests they know they're fighting a losing battle. I told them I want every penny back, plus interest and legal fees. No compromises. Oh, and remember that engagement ring I took back? I sold it and used the money to buy a professional camera and microphone setup for my YouTube channel. Best investment ever. My subscriber count has tripled in the last month, and I'm actually starting to see some ad revenue come in. It's not quit your day job money yet, but it's growing steadily. I still have my marketing job, but my boss has been super supportive of my side hustle. She even helped me revamp my social media strategy to grow my following faster. There's talk of possibly leveraging my new connections in the music world for some of our clients, which could mean a promotion down the line. The most healing part of all this has been rediscovering my love for music on my own terms. I always enjoyed concerts and festivals, but with Blake, I felt like I had to pretend to be more knowledgeable than I was. He would quiz me on obscure bands and make fun of me for liking anything mainstream. Now I can blast Taylor Swift while getting ready and then go review an underground punk show, all without judgment or having to prove my music cred to anyone. Last night, I was sitting on my new couch editing a video of a concert I covered, sipping a glass of wine that I bought with my own money, and it hit me. This whole mess with Blake was actually the best thing that could have happened to me. It forced me to stand up for myself, to pursue my own passions, and to create a life that's authentically mine. So here's to fresh starts, new opportunities, and karma doing its thing. And to Blake, if you're reading this, and I know you are, because multiple people have told me you check my social media daily, I hope those Coachella memories were worth it. I'll be sure to wave from the VIP section next year when I'm there on a press pass. Final update. It's been 6 months since this whole saga began, and I'm writing this from, believe it or not, Palm Springs, where I'm covering Coachella for Soundwave. That's right. I made it to the festival Blake was so desperate to attend that he stole my money. And let me tell you, it's been everything I hoped for and more. My coverage from last year's festival season caught the attention of some bigger publications, and now I'm freelancing for 3 different music blogs. My YouTube channel hit 100K subscribers last month, and I've started monetizing my content through sponsorships with music gear companies and festival fashion brands. Who knew disaster could lead to dream career? As for Blake, I heard through mutual friends that he's still working at Taco Bell, living with his parents, and making minimum payments on the judgment the court ordered him to pay me. Yes, I won the lawsuit. The irony? I just interviewed his favorite band backstage, and they invited me to their after party tonight. I posted a picture with them, tagged at Coachella, knowing full well he'd see it. Sometimes I look around at my life now, traveling, to festivals, meeting amazing artists, building a career I love, and I can't help but laugh at how things turned out. Blake wanted Coachella so badly he was willing to steal and lie for it. Me? I just wanted honesty and respect, and somehow ended up with Coachella and so much more. Best plot twist ever. Smiley face.